Welcome, 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 everybody. Thanks for coming into another Friday night open mic stream. It's been a while, so we'll get right into it. I got Snoots joining us here today. How are you, Snoots?
I'm doing well, and yourself?
Doing awesome. And bringing Tim. Hi,
What's
Tim.
up? How you doing?
Hey, here's Fade. Hi, Fade. Fade's on mute. And we got Justin Dutton.
Yo, Fade, where my stimmy money at?
Yeah, where's his cash?
Pay up.
It should
Put
be there
that
within
cash
2
in my hand.
weeks.
Shut up. Pay me up, little man.
Uh-oh. Told you there's drama going on.
There's always drama.
Playing with his money is like playing with his emotions.
But I will settle this out of court if you show me your nipples.
No.
We're only like 30 seconds into the show, okay? I think we can hold off a little bit before people start getting topless here. Let's wait and see what happens.
Damn.
Nah, Fade's a salute. Look at him.
Salute. I don't know fancy words, so.
Poor Fade. He's made to suffer.
You also don't know what guns you shot either, and that's very disappointing. I don't want to know.
Yeah, so tell us about your fun, exciting day at the shooting range, Fade.
Well, I went shooting. We were doing a contest. I believe I shot a Desert Eagle, if I remember right.
How do you not know if you shot a Desert Eagle?
You would know.
Really just barely shot anything, in all honesty.
Like, if you shot a Desert
I was
Eagle,
mostly
you would
there
know.
for my dad, for him to shoot, so.
What were you possibly drunk or high at the time? Is that why you?
No, you never drink or freaking be high when you're shooting, you freaking idiot. That's how.
Do it all the time.
Maybe
That's how
you don't, but
freaking
someone
accidents
else
happen.
does.
Or dumb shit like what Dutton does.
I'm a fucking pro.
No, you're not.
Well, he's out in the boonies. He can like get away with that stuff.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna catch him. Nobody's gonna care. So
Who knows how many people are buried out there?
exactly. Yeah, they're just like out in the back of the
No, I
pile.
think they're just buried in his backyard. You know, that's how
No.
the lightning strikes.
No, not my backyard. The side yard where the woods are. God.
Don't you know anything?
Come on, Fade, get with the
Bury
program.
'em. Animals eat them.
I swear
Yeah.
to God, you guys.
That's how you hide a body. Come on. Come on, Fade.
I thought you freaking used battery acid.
No,
No.
because battery acid costs money. What you do is you let the wild hogs get to them. There will be nothing left.
Or
This is true.
you just go down the street where the hog farm is and you're like, hey, don't mind me, Mr. Dwight. I'm just hoping you feed these hogs. And he's like, I'm glad that you help out, young whippersnapper. And I'm like, yeah, thank you.
I'm just gonna leave this body right here and walk away now.
Pretty much.
Conversation has gotten very morbid right off the bat.
Come
Well,
on.
Doesn't it?
Look at who you invited.
No, I know. I'm not against it. I'm just, it didn't even take us like 2 minutes to get into the decomposing bodies
Oh, that reminds
subject.
me
Yeah,
too.
that's where the fun's at.
I gotta look up that topic real quick.
So yeah, there's been like all sorts of, I don't know. I had kind of an odd January. Like I think we've all established, and a lot of other people talked about how quickly January seemed to go by, and how I think a lot of it was there was a lot of melodrama around the political climate and all that stuff, right? Like people were just ready for 2020 to be over. 2021 came, and then within
the expansion pack.
well, I don't know, like
We have
anyway.
anal swabs now. It is
I know.
2020 expansion pack.
God.
exactly like it's
I heard about that.
yeah, it's the 2020 expansion pack basically. Yeah, like it doesn't feel like we've actually left 2020. There was high hopes in January that the year would be different, but I think it's starting to settle in for people that it's actually probably going to be an even crazier year. I'm not going to say worse, but I'll say crazier. And I don't know about you guys, but I've been noticing it in Comicsgate, whether it's like within the community, indie community, there's been a lot more drama. People are, I titled the stream, "Are we going stir crazy yet?" Because it seems like everybody's in a lot bitchier mood lately. People are getting into stupid fights. Some of the whether it's like people that we all know, people that we watch their streams, like there's always little nuggets of chaos going on, and it's like nobody really wants to see people fight, and nobody wants to see people having all these issues with their creative teams and fans waiting for fulfillment and all the other stuff that's going on. So like maybe we'll just kind of go around.
Wait. The only teams that I know that's having issues is like the Florida Man team. Is there any other things?
So there's that issue, right? That's one thing we could kind of
Lady Alchemy
briefly
thing.
talk about. Yeah, there's the Lady Alchemy issue with her former artist now doing a cease or like the copyright strike on her, and she's got her legal what is it, a GoFundMe that she's set up. So here, let me pull that up here quick, and you guys can.
Yeah. Which that one's an open shut case because the Lady Alchemy character is pretty much a what is it?
Self-insert, right. But that's the thing. It's her character. It's her persona that she created on her stage performance, right? That the artist was hired to draw her likeness and draw her performance aspects and things like that. And now for him to actively go against her with a copyright strike, like he's going to be the one, bringing up the litigation kind of thing, and she's going to have to defend herself. Well, it's kind of funny because she's got all the evidence in her back pocket, right? Like there's no way this guy can win. So it kind of makes me wonder how stupid is this guy? Like, but it's also, puts Martina on a, puts her on a back footing, right? Because now she's got to raise all this money and actually be able to go through all the legal stuff.
Wasn't her artist like a well-known artist or something?
I don't know who the artist was on the first one. That's doing the suing now.
Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name.
But I do know the new artist looks fucking dope.
Yeah, it does look good. Exactly.
Yeah,
so you guys want, just throw it out there. Like, obviously, if anybody's thinking about, like, who should I support? Obviously, there's all the issues with Zach, and a lot of people feel burnt that Zach just dropped the lawsuit and all that stuff. But I think this is a completely different case. So I think, like, if you're going to throw $5 or $10 or $20 or $50 or $100 anywhere.
Well, this one, all right, so with the Zach case, more or less, it's really hard to prove defamation, especially considering that he more or less succeeded anyways. This is a clear, like, there would be a winner and loser if in their court case compared to the Zach case.
Right.
Where the Zach case, where he continued to make books and several of them hit six figures, it's really hard to be like, did he kind of won.
Yeah,
that's what I was saying. He's had several successful campaigns.
Yeah, like even though he dropped the case, like he won by almost just like being a winner. Now I do have some issues with your boy Zach currently, but that I can save that for a bit.
Yeah, well, there's like I said, there's a lot of drama going around. There's some people were talking about how EVS has been kind of like, he's had a couple rando Twitter threads where, he's kind of gone after some people and some people have gone after him, and there's been some misunderstandings. I saw him on a stream the other night, kind of just flippantly say that like Vinny T was not CG anymore, or he was like outside of the group, or I don't know how he meant it, but to me it just came across like Vinny's not going on as many streams lately, even though I've seen him around on streams. But I guess just because he hasn't gone on Ethan's in a while. And then Vinny kind of, took it the wrong way and was like, hey, why is he saying I'm not CG? I never left CG, and people were just trying to like, hey, everybody just take a step back. Everybody chill.
You know what I'm excited about, though?
What's that?
February 14th. I know that's Valentine's Day. I don't give a shit about that day. But Creed drops on Indiegogo by Trent.
Yeah.
Creed's coming back?
Yeah, Creed's coming back, yeah.
Oh, awesome.
And And EVS's company, All Caps, is gonna be the one that like basically publishes it for Trent.
You know, because like years ago, he said he wasn't going to get back into comic books. He was just going to kind of do his own thing.
He has a very successful career in video games.
Yeah, his channel's huge. He's got like 250,000 subs
Yeah.
on his YouTube, and
he is my. I haven't contacted him yet because I'm waiting on that STEMI money and my tax money, and that still might not be enough. But he is my #1 target for a variant cover for Unstitched 2.
Do it. That'd be awesome.
Nice.
That'd be sweet.
yeah, that would be great.
Do it.
It's him, Tim Lim, Doug TeNapel. And I know the Doug TeNapel one would be kind of iffy for some people, but I'm like, yo, it's a children's book, and Doug does good art. I don't care how you view him personally. He does good art.
Which one do you think is most unlikely to happen, and which one do you have a good feeling about?
I feel like Trent might be like either out of the price range or too busy. I know Tim Lim is busy as crap, but I feel like he might be the best option. And I feel like Doug TeNapel might also be the whole too expensive, too busy, considering that, you know, he has the money to pay Mike Mignola to do covers for him.
Damn.
Yeah, like Earthworm Jim 2. Mike Mignola of Hellboy did the cover.
Yeah, so I just went to Trent's channel. Ethan was playing like a preview for it, I think, on his channel, but I can't find it live. But if you go to Trent's channel, so you just search Trent Kanuga, he's already like coloring pages from it.
Yeah.
on here
Well,
and stuff.
he's been redoing the original Creed, and you'll see him every like once or twice a week drawing like live on his channel.
Right.
He even did a cover for like the Snowman.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've been picking up. I've got all these old Creed books and a couple of the weird crossovers. I'm trying to remember what they're called. They're the miniseries that he did.
Yeah.
And
But
I'll be
his
grabbing
art
it
is
probably.
amazing.
Yeah,
And
like I actually prefer a lot of his concept art stuff now to the comic art because he just puts so much more detail, obviously, into the video game concepts and like the weapon designs and stuff like that. But I mean, I'm hoping once he
well, the Creed,
finishes up with Creed,
here's the
yeah,
thing. He
this is what
started
everybody
Creed when
knows
he was
about.
like 16.
right.
So,
No,
it
I
has
think
a more
it's cool.
cartoony look.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, no, I dig it. I just can't wait to see what his next thing afterward is.
Oh,
when he
yeah.
does something more detailed, and it's going to be insane.
Oh god, yeah.
Here, I'll see if I can show you. Like,
I wonder what changed his mind about comic books. What brought him back?
well, here he's got a video. It's like the difference between making comics versus making games, right?
Yeah.
So his channel is really good because it's not only tutorials, but it's like a lot of the history of like what he's worked on, and you know, like I said, how he's come from. comics
He
into
even
his
has
games.
other stuff like, hey, when should you quit? You know, how to rebuild motivation when you feel burnt out.
Mhm.
You know, a bunch of like great artist stuff.
Yeah, and speed draws. Like I really like speed draws too because they're really kind of soothing to watch, and you know, have to sit there for 4 hours while they draw it. You can just like listen to a 20-minute.
Yeah, plus when he live streams, it's only for about like an hour and a half. Because I don't watch Ethan's live streams because I'm like, bro, you go from anywhere between 4 to 8 hours. I'm not trying to spend a whole work shift.
No, exactly.
Mm.
Anyway, so yeah, he's that's a cool campaign that's coming up. So
Plus, there's so many people on EVS's stream, you can't really interact with them as much.
Yeah.
But Trent, I'm like, yo, he's got a huge following too. So I'm like, even if he is expensive, hopefully his fans
I like.
come over and it pays for itself. That's my logic. That's my hope.
Exactly. So yeah, did you guys know that there's a new feature now in? So I can
No.
actually. Let's see here. So like you can play a video from within Streamcast. And apparently you can actually like do you guys see me scrubbing it?
Yeah.
No. Oh. Yeah, actually.
How are you doing that?
It's like a new feature in StreamYard they just added like the other day, because instead of just being able to share a screen, you can now just share a video file. And I guess this lets you talk over it. One thing we noticed on another stream a while back was that you could actually unmute yourself. So if you play a clip from your brand section, it mutes everybody. But if you go down and unmute yourself, you can talk over it. And I don't think a lot of people knew that. Because the problem was everyone would get shut up as soon as you played a video clip, right? But if you wanted to play something longer and actually talk over it, it was there. Now with this, you can just share the video right in a side screen. Still talk, still pause, still play. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a nice feature. I just thought I'd throw that out there. I thought that was kind of cool.
And that one time you were talking about having clips to play, and you're like, God, I wish I had folders and stuff. Now you can just play the video in your own folders.
Yeah, like you can still do the whole.
I just don't give a fuck.
You know, and it just takes over the screen. But if I want to do it different, I can do it different.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah. We got LA's in the audience. So anyway, what was I going to mention? Anyway, let's forget about all the drama. Let's forget about, like, hopefully we can just get through February and through
Now
March.
let's
And
talk about the world's biggest pandemic of gangster mimes who can pull out invisible Tommy guns that you don't know that if they're shooting a toy gun or a real gun because it's invisible until you're out on the streets bleeding, because gangster mimes are a real thing and they're a threat to society.
so
What are you talking
Gangsta
about?
mimes.
Gangster mimes.
this is his next project, everybody. You heard it here first. It's the Attack of the Killer Gangster Mimes.
I'm a little worried about these gangsta mimes.
So you don't need to do like sound effects or anything like that because it's all completely silent, right?
Yeah.
So if you do a comic based on it, then you don't have to worry about big like sound effect, you know, splashes or anything.
I actually am working on a kind of a dumb superhero script where there is a super powered mime that is like the hitman assassin for a gang. And like he'll put up like an invisible wall to block projectiles coming his way, and then he will also like invisible vote stuff. But yeah,
Right. I knew it. I knew it was a comic idea that you had. I could just tell. Like it can work. It can work. Like,
super powered mime.
yeah, like as a short story or something, like an 8 or 12-page story, or
Now
even
these
16 pages. I could see it working.
These gangsta mimes, do they play mime games?
It's all mime games, man.
No, they play charades.
They're a total mime fraud, man. Yeah, mimery is not really a thing that people study anymore, is it? Like, nobody goes to clown school anymore, and even less people go to mime school.
Well, if you go to any university, you go to clown school. Oh,
snap!
That's what I mean.
Is there a clown college? I mean, besides the usual ones that we know of, I mean, like an actual clown college.
Apparently they exist. Yeah, I've heard of it before, but I don't know, like, you got to travel out of state now to go to clown college, or do you have a local state accredited clown college in your area? Like, how does that work?
Can you actually
you
look
still have to
someone's...
take bullshit general ed classes with it. Like,
Yeah.
I really just want to focus on my balloon animal skills and get my major in that, but I gotta take these other classes like pie in the face. I'm not gonna do that. I just want to make balloon animals, but I gotta take pie in the face class. It sucks.
You got a
Waste
minor.
money.
An acquaintance.
You got a
I had
minor
an
in grease
acquaintance
paint.
who actually worked in the circus and then went off to college, and that is where I met this person. And I was like, wow, you were formerly in the circus. How did you get involved with that? Like, how does one even join the circus? And she got extremely offended that I even asked. And I was just like, oh, okay. So we're not even going to ask about clown college or any of the next shit. Like,
You know what? Where do all the runaways go to now? Because like most circuses are over with because of Peter.
The carnival. If it's not
Okay,
like
I
the
can see
circus,
that.
it's the carnival.
I bet you Peter has a whole file on them.
oh, PETA. I thought he said
Oh,
Peter.
God.
I'm like, who's Peter?
Peter.
Peter!
What the fuck did Peter do?
Peter! Come
God
over
damn
here.
it. Okay, I'm tracking. Sorry, guys.
Exactly.
When
Just to wake you up.
I like to lick people in the eyeballs too.
Mm-hmm. I got a bunch. I got this
It's
here.
probably just as horrifying.
I'll do it through the share because I have a feeling if I do it with the split screen, it might not get noticed as easily. I don't know. I just found like a bunch of old like crappy B movies and just tried to find like this weird ass clips, and I just found this one like
Well, I mean, they're good for that.
this kind of creepy stuff I hadn't seen posted anywhere yet. Stuff I had seen as a little kid and I completely forgot about until now. Stuff that'll freak people out, gross them out, make them go, what the fuck is that? Put a little bit of camera shake on it. Something weird, something growing in the jungle. What the hell is it?
Renfamous?
Could be, yeah.
In your bucket?
Yeah, I told you it's Renfamous.
Exactly. See, and now I can go. What the
I would
hell
lick
is
his
that?
eyeball.
Oh, that's a creature design.
Indeed.
See,
Do
that's
you
what
notice
that's
how they're set up?
It's
See
a,
how it's like a person, this is their knees, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like their mask is on backwards
Yeah.
and they're like sitting backwards basically. So then it looks like their knees go the wrong way, right? It's just a weird ass creature.
it's a cricket.
It's a cricket design, yeah.
Peter file.
Look at this. Anyway, good times.
Yeah.
If
Indeed.
that's your thing of a good time, then sure.
Well, you know, you just want to be ready if you come across something like that in the forest or, you know, when you're walking the old dusty trail, then you know what to watch out for.
If I had a nickel for every one of those I ran into, I'd have a nickel.
I just found the comment section.
What, on StreamYards?
Well, yeah. Well, I'm also on my phone, so
Yeah.
Ah, yeah, then, yeah.
You got to click on the description or whatever now for it to roll down. I know they changed it.
Mm.
They always got to change shit on you when you don't expect it.
Because, you know, why just have everything the same when you can just
Like
mess people
YouTube.
up?
You guys notice how YouTube moves the autoplay button around?
Mhm.
Yes, I was talking
So like
about that.
every 6 months or so, it'll change the autoplay button to somewhere else so that, you know, I hate that.
They didn't have the autoplay button for a while.
Ooh, somebody's microphone is picking up the audio.
It's Dutton.
Hello?
Well,
Okay.
Tim just leaned in, so it might be picking up his headphones.
I know it's not me.
Okay.
Hello?
No, it's fixed. Okay,
Yeah,
we're good.
maybe it is Tim.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
No, but Dutton's muted right now, so.
God damn it, Dutton.
damn straight.
He's got to screw things up somehow.
If
Yeah,
he's
it's
not
At
fine.
being,
least I
Sure.
did my screw ups before the show, alright?
That's true.
if he's not being difficult, he's not being
Life
bad.
just pull up, so
Dutton, get headphones.
I'm on headphones actually,
Nice.
Yes.
So in your face.
but I'm
Nice.
laying in bed with like a dog wanting to be a lap dog.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, there's this sea otter channel that I watch every day that's like really cute. It's like this Japanese couple that have a pet sea otter named Ati, A-T-Y, and it's just beyond cute. Like I would play a clip of it on here, but we'd probably get struck down because it's like a bigger channel. I think they probably got a couple million.
What's the status on my book? Right now, it's being lettered.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, that's maybe a good thing to talk about. So, Tim, what's going on with Melvin?
Well, it's being lettered right now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Come on, get more into it. Give us some nitty gritty here.
Nitty gritty. We've got about like 9 pages lettered. I'm able to get we're at 3 pages done a week. So
Mhm.
Yeah, so
It
everybody
should-
go back Melvin. He's got a flexible goal, so he's going to, I'm assuming regardless of where you end up, you're going to fulfill on your backers, right?
yes, that's
your
the
ability.
number one focus right now is to make sure I fulfill.
Exactly. So
That gave me
even
money.
though it looks a little, he's only at a little over 25% with 24 days left, and this is you're in the 60-day stage
Yeah.
now, right? Yeah. So we got to do whatever we can and just help boost this campaign. So if you guys want to share it out, that will help a lot. Obviously, if you can back it, this is one of the best deals, especially if you want to get alt covers, because he does have an option here for a couple different. So you get 2 for 20, basically, right, Tim?
Yes. There's the original. There's the first 1 and 2 all covers. The Dillard cover was just kind of I wasn't expecting that. So
That's cool.
yeah. And the completely redone version of the original cover, that was a surprise too.
Yeah, it looks really good colored up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so check it out, people. And I'll start sharing that out more this week and try and get you some more backers, and I'll be backing soon too. So it's something good to keep in mind. I think what did I grab? Oh, I got Matt's Metal Movies and Brewskis. I grabbed his Butch Cleaver the other day.
How is it?
Managed to get his well, no, I didn't get it. Like he's starting to film it now. He's getting ready to start sending stuff out.
Yeah,
But I
I'm
hadn't
waiting.
backed it yet. I realized I thought I backed it like a month ago, but I hadn't. And he was at 99 backers, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna back it now, and I can be 100th backer. So I grabbed it. And...
Cool.
So yeah, that's a good one to look into if you guys haven't checked out Butch Cleaver. It's
Okay.
another really good campaign that's maybe coming out soon.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for mine. So.
Cool. Yeah, he's getting them put together now. I know he got his books in, and now he's just packing everything up, and he'll be sending it out in the next week or 2, I think. So
Lovely.
that's cool. Yeah. And how about you?
Snap.
And I tell people,
Indiegogo, type in Everlast.
Everlast? Yeah.
Everlast?
Yeah, that's a new one, right?
Yep, it just launched like
I just saw that the other day.
Tuesday, Monday. I think Monday. Womp womp.
Who runs it?
Jerry. I don't know his last name. He's a cool dude.
Can't I find it?
John, you better not be having issues.
Not ever matter though, right?
No, it should be. I think it's Evermatter.
Ever matter, yeah.
Yep. I almost want to say Everlong, but then I was like, no,
That's a song.
that's a song. And then I think I said Everlast. I'm like, that's a band. It's Evermatter.
I knew what you were talking about though for some reason.
Yeah.
You guys are synced.
Um,
Oh, good.
I just want to give this shout out and Hybrids by Luke
Yeah.
Stone. He
is
launched.
this the one you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I like the art style.
Yep, very Batman
clean.
the Animated Series.
Yeah.
Hmm.
32-page full color. Get a print. Yeah, so this has been another issue that people have been bringing up is whether you should state your stretch goals right from the get-go or save them for later when you need them, which I think is an interesting idea, right? Because, yeah, you kind of want to let people know, like, hey, I've got ideas. These are things that I might, give my backers if we can do it. But at the same time, right, like, you might want to just wait and see, like, how much money am I actually raising first? And then if you're not doing as well as you thought, then spring the stretch goals on people, right?
I
And try to
like
build up that hype. A bit.
the hybrid of like maybe reveal your first two,
Right.
and depending on like how many stretch goals you have, or at least what you think, have those locked with question marks and be like, once I hit this stretch goal, then I will reveal the next one, and then hopefully, that pushes it, try to get that one, and then I will reveal the next one, but I'm only going to reveal it once I hit the one that came, before it.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's like a right or wrong way, right? It just depends on the campaign and how much of a fan base you got built up and what people's expectations are for it. But I think, I think there is a point though that it can crowd up your campaign a little bit much, or give people like maybe some unrealistic expectations, or yourself some unrealistic expectations, right? So it's kind of like everything with these campaigns is always a bit of a gamble and a bit of just kind of like either just try it and see what happens, or
And that's why my first stretch goal was just doing like extras.
right. And so LA here is saying, I say save them. It's like breadcrumbs and also a way to re-energize the lagging campaign. Yeah. Like, I think maybe if you put the first one, like, your early goal, if it's going to be something like a, trading card or a postcard or a bookmark or something like that, and it's just like 1,000 or 2,000 or whatever your base kind of goal is. Like, if we hit our goal, this is what, because I don't even think the first stretch goal should really be like a stretch necessarily. Yeah, obviously your goal is like, hey, you're getting your book and the main stuff. But I think if you just, hey, my goal is 2,000, have your first stretch goal at 2,000, and then it's like just an extra bonus basically that people are getting. And then from there, once you hit it, start revealing a few or something. But, but if you're a big player and you've got like, you're thinking, okay, I'm going to make 10 grand, 30 grand, whatever, you might have like way more ideas planned out. And you might want to like, just let people know, hey, you can expect this if we hit those big numbers. But
like
with issues, Mike and I kind of softballed it, where it's just like we understand the risk that some people take with doing stretch goals, and whether or not people actually want them, and whether or not you actually like wasting money, whether that money can go to your campaign or anything. And I'm all for bonus content, and Mike is very much like, I want the comic book. I don't want all these patches and stickers and all that shit. So we were like, you know what? Let's do the compromise of what did the fans want? So as we're getting people contributing to the campaign, we're getting that feedback of like, what should the next stretch goal be? So we're not having to be like, all right, we're going to spend a bunch of money on something that people may or may not want. It's legitimately something that people have come out and said, hey, this would be cool.
Right. Yeah, that's a good idea, is like, wait and see what people are asking for, rather than just like whatever your idea of what you think people want is, or what you want. Because a lot of times that's what it is. Like, oh, I know this person that can make this thing that's like this price or whatever. It's just convenient, right, to do a card or a bookmark or a sticker or whatever, because that's what other people are doing and you know how to do it. But maybe it's like, hey, I want like, I don't know, like, that's the thing. I think people are getting a little burnt out on the stretches too, and like all the extras. Yeah, just give me the book and give me the something that's useful, something I get some value out of, but not just like some extra tchotchke that I'm going to throw into a drawer somewhere and forget about.
Yeah. So if people are there for the art, then people will be requesting prints. If people are there for extra pages or whatever, then that's something you can definitely put your money into. So it's just nice to have feedback,
Exactly. No, yeah, and you guys go back issues, that's still in demand right now. So you guys have a lot of options available for people.
If you don't back issues, you might have some issues.
Well, if you don't back issues, you'll have issues, because you'll have to get issues as a back issue.
And then you'll feel sad and you'll need some tissues.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
sometimes
we
if
actually-
you feel happy, you also use tissues, but
God damn it.
There you go.
But yeah, we're actually starting to close some tiers because the progress in the book is starting to get further and further. So we actually had to close Fight Hero and another tier that's blanking my mind right now.
Right.
So yeah, because we want fan involvement. We want not just like our fans, but like comic book fans. It's the whole reason why we're doing this book. And as it gets further along, there's less what do you call it? There's less maneuverability.
Right.
So, like,
yeah.
we
Because you guys, you have to finalize the art and finalize what
Yeah.
you're doing and stuff. Yeah, exactly.
So we're slowly going to be locking tiers. So if people want to get issues, like, start getting that shit in.
Do it soon. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm planning on
Yeah.
backing. I just gotta prioritize here. So hopefully in the next couple weeks, if not the next week, I can back.
I will say that we are definitely keeping like the book tiers open.
Right.
Until
You're just
like,
saying
we go
for
to
some of
print.
those extra tiers
the
and
cameo
stuff like
tiers.
that. Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and until the book comes out, or until we go to print, we are also doing a fan art contest. So I know there's a lot of writers here, but tell your artists, tell artist friends and stuff. We're doing a fan art contest, and we're gonna try our best to keep all submissions in the book. So, like I said, fan involvement. We want people to get involved. Our favorites will be chosen for chapter breaks and stuff. So, like, legitimately featured art contest, like fan art contest.
Nice.
So, tell your artist
But-
friends.
So you're almost kind of committing that if someone submits something, you're going to do your best to get it into the book, regardless
if
of
someone
like.
submits something, it's going in the book somewhere.
I see.
Like it
Okay.
might be.
So you guys don't have like some arbitrary like judgment scale of like the art's got to be of a certain level or anything like that, or you can pick and choose like, okay, we like these ones, we don't like those ones. You're just gonna, hey, if somebody submits something, we're gonna put it in the book. I mean, obviously you guys have control over how it's presented, right? But
exactly.
I think that's
But,
cool.
Like I think we might do a little section in the back of like, here's people who definitely submitted. Like, thanks for participating, but our
Yeah.
favorites are going to go in as chapter bones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Mhm.
And hopefully you don't get trolled, because like people like to do that when it's like, hey, if you do this, we'll submit it, like we'll put it into the actual thing. You know, there's going to be people like trying to sneak, like Ethan does, where he draws sex into the clouds or into the spider web in the X-Men issue, right?
I can't tell you how many dicks Mike has already drawn on my sketches where I'm just like, okay, so
Okay.
Anne's standing here and Patriot's here, and Mike's like, and here's a dick in her mouth, and here's a
Mhm.
dick in his ass, and
Okay,
yeah.
so you guys are cool with it then?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
it
The
happens
whole
on a daily basis.
Ethan sex thing actually brings up a great topic of did you hear about the Immortal Hulk issue 43 this week?
No.
No, I haven't heard specific. I heard like just somebody mention it, but I didn't hear the details.
Okay,
I'll look
so
it up, though.
there's controversy because of
Oh wait, is it the window, the jewelry
Yeah.
window? Yeah. I did hear about that. Yeah,
What
I'll bring it
happened? What happened? I don't know.
I'll bring it up. Here. I got the.
Okay.
Is
The
it
super
on?
racist window.
Yeah.
yeah.
Is it on Bounding into Comics?
Super racist window.
Yeah, they gotta have it on there.
I think Mike pointed out too that like a lot of shit was misspelled on it.
Well, that was the thing is it didn't have the L, so it just looked like a Jewer.
But like the last name, it was missing a letter too.
I mean, it's supposed to say brothers.
Well,
Sorry,
the artist is like from Brazil, and like English really isn't his language.
Sure.
But at okay, I understand that. At some point, where does an editor step in and say,
Yeah,
"What the fuck is this?"
like I view it more on the editor's fault than the artist.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's Marvel artist Joe Bennett accused of anti-Semitism over artwork error. Yeah, sure. You got your cover.
Yeah, because it's Boom, right there.
Yeah.
That top right panel.
Oh,
So you can see in the background here it says Cronenberg, probably Brothers is what it would say, and then it's JEWER, and then Star David in the background.
Yeah, and the Star of David was also done wrong.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, you got to do it backwards, so that can be a pain.
But okay, here's my question: was it the writer who did the storyboard for it, or did like the thumbnail for it, and tell the artist to do this, or was this all the artist?
Well, let's see here. So, a spelling error and attempted reference to an esteemed horror filmmaker seen in the artwork of the Immortal Hulk's latest issue has resulted in artist Joe Bennett facing accusations of anti-jewelry and with the mental identities of blah, 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 blah. Yeah, of course, they're going to make excuses for him. The artwork that landed him in hot water appears during Fix-It scamming of a jewelry store, seemingly meant to read Cronenberg Boys. Oh, Cronenberg Boys. Okay, that makes sense. Jewelry. Yeah, Star of David. I don't know. Like, I don't think anybody's going to, like, actually take the blame for this. Like,
but you know, if that was like a CG,
Well, the artist has already.
Whoa.
The artist has already apologized and was like, it was a mistake. And other stuff. And I'm like, really? You shouldn't be landing on this grenade, my dude. I get you don't want to throw your editor under the bus, but...
Well, that's just it. Like, I think this is a Marvel issue where it shouldn't be like the artist or the writer apologizing. Marvel should be taking the person aside and saying publicly, we're having a meeting with the party involved and it's an HR issue, blah, blah, blah. And at Marvel, we apologize and da-da-da-da. And Marvel should be stepping up front for this kind of thing because they need to actually take control of their artists and their writers. Like, as a company, if they're going to be a corporate structure and make corporate comics, then they should be responsible for something like this. They shouldn't throw their own, even though I agree it is whoever actually did it, it's their fault and they should be the ones. But, when you just allow somebody like Bennett to step up and go, oh, I apologize, it was a mistake, it was an error, it was whatever, it kind of takes all of that pressure off of Disney and off of Marvel, right? And then the fan base just kind of like lets it go, and the comic shops let it go, and everybody kind of lets it go. But if Marvel actually has to say something about it, then it's going to go on the news, it's going to hit bigger, and that's why they do it, right? They're just trying to sweep it under the rug because they know whoever did this did it on purpose. There's no way it can be a mistake.
Somebody's a patsy.
Right? But they don't want to fire anybody. They don't want to actually make a big PR stink out of it, right? So, but this has happened before. Comics, like, putting subliminal stuff in comics has been around forever. And
we'll be curious, though.
I guess it's not really subliminal, though, but...
how many more issues will he be on the Immortal Hulk as the artist?
Yeah, he could. That's what I mean. Like, quietly, they'll probably sweep him aside.
Because, I mean, if anything, if he's the artist, then at least the next issue he's already done.
Yeah, they're always 2 or 3 ahead, right? So, or supposed to be.
And again, I'm just bringing up, like, we don't know it is necessarily, like, the artist just doing his job and just didn't understand that that's what the fucking issue was, or it was the writer, or it was... There's parties involved.
But see, when you're writing, when you're drawing like lettering in a window, though, I don't really see how you can misinterpret that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if the writer tried to sneak it in there, so if the writer's at fault because he came up with it, then the artist is kind of like that stopgap to try and catch that kind of thing. Because the artist is having to read the description and interpret it and then draw it. And even at the point where he's drawing the lettering, he's going to like think in his own head, I'm drawing lettering, so I got to make sure this lines up and that this actually reads properly. So he's going to think about it more than a couple times, right? Like, what word is he actually drawing in that window? He's not just going to... It's not like drawing a figure or something where you can kind of be on autopilot and just do it, right? So I think, either the artist did it. I think the artist is probably the most likely culprit.
But like, okay, so
Because usually the writer will just say there's like a window with a sign. It might not even say what it is, right? Or it might have said Cronenberg Brothers jewelry. And then Bennett is trying to get something over by the way he puts the figure in front of the letters. And it's like, oh, nobody will notice that there's a letter missing. It'll just look like jewelry, but really it's jewelry, which is like whatever the fuck that means. Like, that's just the stupid, you know what I mean? Like, it's like a dumb thing for him to do anyway, because it doesn't really make sense as an insult or a slight or a...
yeah.
It's just forwarding some weird stereotype about like Jewish people owning jewelry stores or something, right? But it's like, why would you risk being fired and ruining your art career over something that dumb, right? Like,
Let me play devil's advocate here. Of like, was it Roseanne doing the Hitler
Right.
piece? But that was like for a Jewish magazine. They were the ones who hit up the sketch, but she's the one who got the heat for the joke.
okay, what are you referring to? I'm not sure if I'm completely familiar.
When Roseanne dressed up as Hitler for the comedy magazine.
Oh, that was a while back. Yeah, I do now remember that.
I don't
Yeah.
remember that at all.
Yeah.
So people have resurfaced it as like people who've done blackface or whatever the hell embarrassing jokes in over the past few years. So they dug up that dirt on her and was like, oh my God, look at what she did. And I'm pretty sure, if memory serves, they asked her to do it. And it was a Jewish magazine. So,
This will
it's just
probably
like-
get me struck, but why not?
hey, I'm a Jew. It's okay.
No, I know. And it's like, I hate those rules of like, oh, we can't show swastika because, you know, I understand maybe why Germany does that, but like everybody else
Yeah.
shouldn't be so... It's historical and it's like,
I
come
swear
on.
to God, I feel
know
like
the
these-
evil, otherwise you're less to repeat it again.
I feel like these people like failed English or not English, history class or something, just because with the way we're going on about they go on about this.
Well, and a lot of it is that political horseshoe too, right? When you go to the extremes of the political issues, right? Then it starts to form like a horseshoe and the two sides bend back together to touch.
Yeah.
And so like that's what's going on in society a lot right now.
It's a ramp of free to authoritarian. And on that authoritarian, it's the socialist, communist, fascist. They're all the same.
Yep.
But so yeah, the point I'm making here is there were a lot of people involved with this joke, but she's
Right.
the one getting heat for it. So
Right.
that's all I'm trying to say with the artist, where it's just like he has a job to do and he's going to do it. Is he the one who had the idea, or is he just doing his goddamn job and somebody else had the idea, somebody else is being the shitbag, but the artist is the patsy? That's all I'm saying.
No, that's a good point actually that you put forward, right?
that
Because that's kind of what I was getting at before, where it should really be Marvel coming out front and center and
Exactly.
taking the, you know, because whatever the story is, they're always going to like PR manage it however they want to anyway, right? And, you know, because we'll never really know deep down, but Marvel knows, right? And so they should be the one
Mhm.
that takes responsibility and just kind of, but they don't want that. They just want to like throw an artist under the bus and it could be rightfully so. It could be that Marvel knows, hey, this guy really fucked up. Like the writer, this is not in the script, or maybe they talk to the writer and the writer's like, yeah, no, I never told him to do that. Like he did that on his own and we all missed it. And it could be one of those comedy of error things where all the editors and the art proofers and the printing people and everybody missed it before it went to print. You know what I mean? And so they don't all want to feel stupid like, oh yeah, we could have all stopped this at any time, but we didn't notice it because we don't even read our own comics. We don't notice what the hell goes on in them. Like,
Yeah.
because there's been stories like that, right? Where the editors, there's all sorts of crazy typos going on in the books, and like even panel descriptions and like SFX for special effects and all that stuff, like stuff that's supposed to be only in the script has ended up in the captions in the books. Right. So
kind of, if you think back to all the stuff Marvel's done, I don't really think it's a mistake. I think it's only a mistake now because people pointed it out.
well, it is obviously on purpose on some level, but are you insinuating that Marvel specifically made a point of like, or is that just like a cockamamie theory?
That's a cockamamie theory. Maybe.
Okay, yeah, because I mean, I
you
would
can think about like mainstream comic books have done that sound crazy on purpose. Like,
right. Like that Angela of Hell book or whatever, where she's talking about like Palestine and
yeah,
issues in the Middle East and all this stuff. Like, yeah, they have thrown some really odd, but that's more the writer and then Marvel letting them get away with it versus Marvel corporate like coming up with the stuff and like proposing it from top down. Excuse me, but I'm you know me, I'll believe like conspiracy theories, but I'm more inclined to think it's just kind of like some weird individual error versus Marvel doing it, because I don't think Marvel wants to like put that much heat on themselves at this point. But you know, it's honestly, it's one of those things where I just think like I'm a free market solutions type of guy, where like this should just be people deciding, hey, we don't want to support this, we're gonna like, you know, not necessarily boycott the artist, but we're not buying the book anymore, and the retailers, okay, we're not ordering the book anymore, and then Marvel will get the picture, and this stuff can police itself. You don't need cancel culture, you don't need people, you know, completely destroying these people, because that's how it used to be in the old days. Like I just feel like the consequences for things now, even though the consequences might get meted out to people quicker because of social media, right? Like because you can have too many false positives, like an innocent person being convicted of some public crime, right? That it's not worth it. That just because you get some taste of justice quickly doesn't necessarily mean that that's the right form of punishment and the right form of, you know. So I just think a lot of this stuff that society is going through right now, it should just be everybody chill the fuck out. If you don't like it, turn off the TV, don't buy it, ignore it, you know, but don't try to like destroy these people online or whatever. Because the other thing going on is all the people that went to the rally, the January 6th rally, right? There's all this news about people that they just happened to be in Washington that day. They happened to be a Bank of America customer, and they happened to go to a store. So that's the thing not many people know, is that now private, you know, people's banks are basically giving up their information to the FBI without telling them. And they're just like, they're not even doing it upon request of the FBI. They're just going, hey, you know what? We have a lot of financial data. Let's just go back in our records and see who was in DC on that day that went to like a sports shop or that bought ammo that day or whatever in the entire tri-state area. And we're just going to come up with a list of like 500 people that meet these very vague parameters. And then we're just going to hand it over to the FBI and go, here, you might want to go investigate these people. So the FBI went and talked to a guy that, yes, was in Washington on that day, but never went to the rally, never had anything to do with it. But meanwhile, he's being like in the media now, they're talking to him like he's some suspected terrorist. Like he went into the Capitol building or whatever. But now it's like these banks think that they're moral and think that they can, you know, convict somebody of a crime or whatever. And they're trying to be the G-man. And that's scary. And like, it's, you know, that's what's happening, right? Is that if we let these kind of social media mobs and these corporations just get away with all this stuff all the time, whereas it's just like, you don't buy it. If you want to boycott it, okay, boycott it. I don't believe in boycotts because I don't think they work. But if people want to set up a boycott, or they want to like tell people like, hey, just so you're aware, this is out there, don't buy it, don't support this. But keep the people, the individuals out of it, because that's the other thing. Is like, I just think there's too many. I don't know. I'm just waiting for something really bad to happen. The way people can kind of attack creators and celebrities and just anybody, right? Like you could have a gang of people descend on you when you least expect it, right? And you don't know what's going to happen. So what do you guys think? Like, because I tend to be more like, I just ignore the person. If I don't like them, I just stay away from them and I just don't have anything to do with them. I don't know how you guys are, but
Marvel and like mainstream mainstream comic book creators have already shown contempt for the audience anyway.
Right.
So it's like they don't. You know, you could make a statement with your wallet, but at the same time, they don't care about you.
That's an interesting point. Yeah, like so what you're saying is you kind of don't have a voice in that sense because you can't deny them $1. You're already denying them your money anyway. You know, if you haven't bought any Marvel comics in years, then it's like they don't even know you exist. But So that's maybe where you want to have a voice and you want to tell people like, hey, if you're buying Marvel, you're buying Immortal Hulk, stay away kind of thing. But I just don't think going on Bennett's timeline and going after him or anything, I don't think that's going to solve anything.
That's a waste of your time. You're just being a dick at that point.
But you guys do agree that kind of seems to be like the first thing that people jump to nowadays, right? Like it's that fake social points that people want.
Yep.
Yeah, it's this weird clout chasing thing that happens where people just people focus on the negativity, and that's how people are getting clout. That's how hell, Ethan got his clout at the beginning of all this, before he quit DC, shitting all over Star Wars and stuff. Go get Daddy's belt, Fandom Menace, all that jazz.
Yeah,
that's how Comicsgate started. In all honesty, so at some point we have to realize like. At what point does the culture need to shift? Because, and
I guess I draw a little bit of a distinction too, because if you're doing public commentary on your videos about it, that's one thing, but going after the person directly on social media, that's a different thing, right?
Okay,
so, and I'm sure
absolutely.
EVS, he's done both, but I'm just saying like, that's where I would kind of draw the line. It's like, you can make your feelings be known on it, or you can talk about it publicly, but I don't think that doesn't rise to the level of like harassment or going after the person necessarily, although some SJWs might argue that, right? They would say, hey, if you make a video about something versus tweeting at them about something, that's basically the same thing, but I don't think it's the same thing.
Pursuing somebody's like interests and like pursuing somebody's messages and like their social media profiles and stuff, that is where the harassment starts. But everyone else, like,
well, they're a bunch of sadists. They like to watch people suffer.
And I still think that that's like what you sign up for. So I'm not even against necessarily other people doing that. I just myself personally choose not to, because again, I don't want to waste my time. And I don't even want to get into all the garbage, like it just fucks with my day kind of thing when I got these people coming back at me, right? So it's just like, for as bad as I'm gonna make their day turn out, I'm just gonna make my own day turn out bad. So I just kind of ignore it and walk away. But if other people want to have those battles, that's fine by me. It's just I'm waiting, when is the next shoe going to drop? Because I think everybody's seen, okay, this has been going on for more than a couple of years now, and it kind of keeps escalating. And it's like, at what point is somebody going to like literally get, somebody's going to show up at somebody's doorstep or whatever, and like people talk about that all the time. But it's probably happened. I'm not saying it hasn't happened, but I'm just saying like either among our community or among people that we know or that we're aware of, like I dread, somebody taking some stupid thing too seriously and just thinking, oh, I'm going to be, Mr. Social Justice Warrior Extreme and kind of like go out there and
be the champion of the movement and actually incite some goddamn violence. Yeah.
Because every case kind of gets escalated and more people get away with more and more bullshit, right? So it's just going to lead to somebody kind of taking a chance at some point. But
I would love to see, and I keep on seeing memes about it, but me and Mike talk about this all the time, and like people get complacent because they're all talk. Mm-hmm. And it's like when you've actually like thrown hands, perspective changes, because you talk all this shit but got nothing to back it up. And as petty as that can sound, like a lot of these riots and stuff, like you've seen the videos and stuff where people are talking massive shit, but as soon as someone actually gets hit, everybody loses their mind because, oh my God, you don't know how to take a fucking hit.
Right.
So with all these people, when they're threatening violence, a part of me wants to like say, yeah, let's start a legitimate, like, I don't know, not a fight club, but if you actually want to go fight, fine. Let's pick a place. Let's meet up. Let's start a let's start a fight club and just hash it out. If you're as bad as you say, then let's fucking go. Let's throw hands. Let's see what happens. And I guarantee you it would diffuse shit. I guarantee you. Because nobody has an actual outlet. Like, you have this illusion of an outlet on social media where people are just like...
it's kind of funny because there was a dude, I think he runs a comic shop. He legitly challenged Richard
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
To
Oh
a
yeah,
fight.
I remember
Yeah.
hearing about.
Okay, Tim, you were gonna say something. Go for
I'm
it.
not going to say who, but I've actually offered that to to a certain person. I said, if you think you can knock this retard off his seat, you come on down to Texas.
Okay, so and let's not like get too into this topic. Like we can kind of dust it off. And I just brought up LA's comment here. He says artists might have snuck it in, but yes, at the end of the day, it's the editor's fault. There's supposed to be a stopgap. So that's
Yep.
I think that's that point is over now. It's a good way to end it. With the whole thing about like calling somebody out for a fight versus calling them out for a debate. See, that's what I think. So okay, here's my quick analysis of it, right? Is that the only reason people want to fight is because they feel like their voices aren't being heard, right? Generally, if people have complete and honest free speech, for the most part, and I'm not saying like in a absolute sense, but just like people have the sense, the feeling like they have free speech, they're going to hash it out with words, right? But as soon as the government and the corporations and all the censorship and stuff starts happening, that's when people feel like they need to ramp it up to direct action. And that's what we've been seeing with all the political stuff, right? All the rallies, all the, whether it's like, on the left or on the right, it's just mass groups of people wanting to get together to have their voices heard. So eventually, once that stuff gets clamped down on, which we're seeing now, then it's going to escalate to the next level in reality, right? Where people are going to be trying to go out and start shit that wouldn't necessarily, right? Like they would just be the type to hold up a sign, but now they're going to want to start a fire or break something or hurt somebody, right? So what Snoots is saying is like calling somebody out and going, hey, let's just actually get in the ring. Let's meet up and like get our aggressions out. And now do either people chicken out and they go their own way and that diffuses it? Or do they get together and it gets escalated and it ramps up? Or do you sell it in the sense of like, let's get together and have a debate. Let's actually have a free speech, connection. And yet if we can't agree to disagree or mince it out with words, then we'll fight it out. See, I think that's where you might have the idea, Snoots, is like, don't necessarily jump right to the fight right away, but have a public forum, right? Where it's like, let's actually talk about these issues. Because now the reason I say that is because most people, when you get them together and you actually force them to have a conversation and debate something, they're going to agree more than they disagree. And that's what ends up happening, right? Even on the street, when these groups come together and they just start yelling at each other in a circle, but eventually some of their points start to sink in. Like you don't see it very often, but every now and then you see it where people, they really start to kind of rub off on each other. And then they realize like, hey, well, this is all kind of stupid. Like they don't even want to like look at the person anymore. They just want to turn around and walk away, right? Because they realize, okay, I don't want to hurt this person anymore. I don't even want to be convinced of their ideas. So I'm just going to like chill the fuck out and walk away.
I've seen it sometimes where like people legitimately are coming together, like almost, and this is going to be a bad analogy, but like a Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, where they want the same thing. They just want it in different manners.
Right.
So I've seen plenty of rallies where it ends up being rather peaceful, although they're opposing groups, because they came there to make a change in the correct way. Their version of correct ways are different. But what I was talking about with throwing hands, it legitimately wasn't like, let's talk and then if it needs to, let's get in the ring. Like that comic book shop owner, Mike actually offered to fly one of our friends over to him to actually have a fight. It's just like, okay, you want to talk shit? We will fucking fly down there. And he's like, oh, no. And it's people who talk out of insecurity is the issue. And absolutely, if people are secure and they believe like what they're saying is right and it's not talking out of insecurity, absolutely have a debate. But it's the insecure assholes who just want to talk a bunch of shit. Yet
No, I totally get where you're coming from. I just think like, so what you're exposing then, like if people are just talking shit, right, then 99% of the time, nobody's going to get into fisticuffs no matter what, right? Because it's just people blowing off steam on the internet. So I think you're just kind of like, I get where you're coming from, because maybe in the end that does diffuse the situation, because it just forces everybody to kind of walk off in their own direction and just stop fucking around with each other kind of thing, right? Because it gets to a certain point, you can't argue the concept anymore. You're just going to like that's the point you're making, right? Is like either we just fight it out or there's no point in having this discussion anymore. But yeah, I think that's just kind of more of that's a tactic to get them to kind of just shut up and go away. Because you're right, they're not going to fight. They're just going to like.
I've had different. I've been on the street I was on the street for 5 years, and when you say put your dukes up, you mean it.
Oh yeah.
You're not gonna walk away from this one. When somebody says, let's have it out, and I'm all right. This is the place you meet up. We'll do it.
Oh, but that's how it is on the streets. You're right, though. That's what I'm saying. Is like that's what I was trying to get at too. Is kind of more like rather than us just like jaw at each other on the internet, if we actually met up and had a debate, i.e., we might even have other people there to support our case. We might do it in front of an audience. We might actually do it in a public forum. However, that's up to you to decide, right? And again, if we can't work it out at that point, then we'll fight. But then at that point, it might be, hey, we don't have that big of an argument to even debate it anyway. So what's the point of even fighting over it, right?
Right.
So I get what you guys are all saying. I just think like I'm kind of hearkening back to the old days of like the duel, right? Like when two gentlemen had an issue.
You know what?
With each
Actually,
other,
I want to bring that back. Like legally, let's
Exactly.
duel.
That's what I was trying to say.
But you know what? I want to make some rules though, because population has increased. All right, I want to legalize open carry melee weapons.
Open carry melee weapons, huh?
Yeah, so axes, hammers, swords, whatever. You can only duel someone who is also open carrying a melee weapon, and it is straight up to the death, if both gentlemen agree. But there has to be a third party referee. Almost like the old school dueling.
This
will settle so much stuff because do you really want to kill someone by beating them to death with a hammer? Yes, I do.
So
as long as it's not one of those WWE wrestling referees, because they'll look the other way and not see anything.
No. You just need someone that goes, yeah, nope. Both of these gentlemen agreed to fight. They both used melee weapons. There was no pistols or anything involved. It was strictly one-on-one. And yeah, the guy lost his life. Tragedy. But
plus, this is the modern crowd service economy. Like you could literally make an app for that, where it's like you want to have a duel, and just the nearest person that's like a third party would be cute.
What would you call it? Mortal App Bat?
Yeah.
You know what? There actually is a comic.
Third party person.
God, I can't.
Like, no, this person wasn't fair.
Right. You could rate them exactly. Give them a review.
Oh my God.
Rate the fatality.
Well, see, there have been different law enforcement, like, so whether it's like open carry with like firearms or like Dutton saying with melee weapons, like I'm completely, because I kind of look at weaponry as almost like nuclear weapons, right? Because we have nuclear weapons on Earth, right? And so there's this kind of idea of mutually assured destruction that keeps any country from launching the nukes on another one, because they know as soon as I launch my nukes, they're going to launch their nukes. So if I press the button, I'm basically destroying my own country, right? And we're just going to blow up the whole planet together. And that's what keeps all these countries in line from ever initiating nuclear war. They know as soon as anyone starts it, the whole Earth is completely destroyed. That's why I don't ever worry about nuclear war, because if it ever gets to that point, it's over. There's no point in any of us even worrying about like who's going to get hit, what country, whatever. We're talking like nuclear winter for 10 years at least, even if just like a couple nukes go off. But that's very doubtful. There's been studies where they think anywhere from like 35 to like 700 is like the minimum amount of nukes that would be launched immediately. So the point being is with melee weapons, firearms, that kind of thing, it should be the same way. If some people are allowed to have them, then everyone should be allowed to have them. It should be like nukes. If one country can have them,
Thunderdome.
Yeah, well,
not
what I'm saying is, I'm saying anyone can have all right, so my open carry law is anyone can have them, but you can only challenge someone who is also carrying, because you can't be like, I have me a broadsword. I see Fade over there doesn't have a weapon. I'm gonna challenge him to a fight. No, it's not fair.
Let me throw a contention in here. if the other party doesn't have a weapon and they're talking massive shit, you can challenge them if you both fight bare hands.
Right. Well, so what Dutton's
I'm
getting at
saying-
too, I think, is
I'm
you need to
saying
have a
Thunderdome.
book of rules. You literally need to have a giant manual of rules. And the thing is, there were rules around dueling back in the day, right?
You don't need
And
like
in the
10
modern
books.
world, well, yeah, whatever. But I'm just saying, like, because on one hand, in the modern world with our legal structure, it would never be allowed, right? So you would have to have some incorporated legal apparatus to like define all of this stuff in order for it to be a reality. I don't think it could happen. I don't think you could ever amend all the laws we currently exist under, because I think the only reason we don't have a society like that today is just because of how litigious our society has become and how, you know, everyone has pretty easy access to legal representation and whatnot, right? So I think that's what keeps a lot of these things. It's not the politicians that control this stuff. I think it's just the fact that people want to live in a safe and sanitary world, that they've created the legal structures around that in order to prevent those kind of societal structures from ever arising. But I think, like, if we didn't live in such a corporately based society where everyone's just trying to protect their own stuff, it could have very well evolved, you know, out of the old, you know, kind of common law systems into something like what Dutton's talking about, right? Where it just becomes a matter of very refined, gentle, personally rules that nobody's looking to fuck with anybody else. No one's looking to kill anybody else, but everyone is allowed a measure of self-defense, a measure of protecting themselves, a measure of retaliating against some sort of offense, right? And that, in effect, would keep everybody in line. But like what Tim's saying with Thunderdome, like it might have to go apocalyptic in order for us to get back to that.
One man leave.
Right.
If I may add to my contention of fighting barefisted, that would also be
I like this.
bare ass, full nude, oiled up, good to go.
I'd do
Man
it.
against man.
Well, see, I think
I'd do it. Ancient Roman style, baby.
Yeah.
I got no shame.
Oh God.
That might actually keep a lot of people in line too, you know, just having to
They'll be like,
realize that-
damn, Dutton beat him with a hammer. I thought he fought naked. He did.
Well, especially all like the super big fat folks.
The horror.
Well, you know, like how all the big fat guys think they're all tough just because they weigh 600 pounds or whatever. But if it turned out that, like, no 600-pound lard ass has to get naked in a ring in front of a bunch of people and fight somebody, they might not lip off as
Okay,
much.
you know what? They win by default because I will throw up and I can't. Nope. I can't do that.
Well, and that's
I will fat shame them. I don't care. It's disgusting.
that's where the kind
I'll
of like,
vomit.
there would be so many strategies that would have been evolved, right? Because every person would be very well versed in, you know, martial arts and
What happened to
defensive.
that?
And,
He got smothered to death.
well, you go.
forget sumo is extremely respectable, guys.
Not only that, but like there's a lot of weak points on the human body, right? Like just because somebody's really big, like there would be an element of dirty fighting, right? Because obviously, if you know, you could have really outclassed opponents, you know, like in terms of weight or size or whatever, then there would have to be some sort of compensatory rule that, like, okay, the smaller person could literally go for the knees of the bigger person. Like there wouldn't be some like illegal attack, like, oh, you can't go for the eyes, you can't go for the knees, you can't go for the weak parts. Like,
If
no,
it's a fight
that's
to the death. It's a fight.
yeah,
to
that's
the
what I
death.
mean. So like that's what I mean is you'd have a very like evolutionary process where, like, you know, very almost like MMA, right? Where it's like MMA is not any one martial art. It's kind of just taken the best and the brightest from all these different areas and put them together into something that's like greater than the sum of its parts. And that's kind of what it would become, right? Because if you're talking about like whether it's melee weapons or hand to hand or any of that stuff, like you'd have to be really, really good, really, really fast. Or maybe society at that point, like I think you'd probably have 10 or 20 years where like all that stuff's sifting through the grader, so to speak, right? But then after a while, people are going to start to learn like, hey, I want to live, I want to survive, I'm not going to like fuck with anybody. And they would just start existing within the rules. And so, you know, it might cause a little bit of chaos at first, but I think in the long run, society would become a lot more smoothly regulated and maintained at that point. But again, I think it takes like apocalyptic scenario to be in that situation. Like, I think we can like legally find ourselves at that point anymore.
I think Fade would be able to last a little bit longer with his box.
Well, actually, you bring up a good
he was-
point. So
If
like,
he was fighting, he'd use his box as a weapon.
so how much would you be allowed to use subterfuge, right? Like, so say in Dutton's scenario, right, where everyone can have open carry melee weapons and all this stuff, are there now rules and regulations around like the quality of the weapon you can have, the materials that it's made out of, the weight of the items? Like, is it
Nope.
just completely open-ended, or is there some measure of like,
Completely open. As long as it's a just a melee weapon, boom.
and
Like,
how
it's
about with
just-
technology? Because you know what's happening is eventually technology is going to become so advanced, the materials will become so advanced that just because you're carrying openly a weapon on your person doesn't mean the other person has any real idea what you're capable of or what that weapon's capable of necessarily. So that's what I'm trying to say is like, on some level, you're trying to incorporate some fairness and some rules into it. But people always try to skirt around the rules, or they always try to like use the loopholes to their advantage, right? So that's what would happen in this scenario. That's why I say you would need a book of rules. You want to have 10 rules, you would literally have to have an entire giant manual of rules. Those rules would replace all these other stupid rules in society that we
First two rules would be
follow,
easy
but-
because you wouldn't be allowed to talk about it.
God damn it.
What is it, Snoots?
maybe.
That,
That's
Fight Club
yeah.
joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are the two rules right there.
Yeah, but those aren't really rules. Those are just kind of like suggestions. Right? Because it's not like, because I mean, what happens? Then somebody duels you. So if you break the rules, are you not allowed to be part of that system, or do you have to be subject to that system for punishment? In which case, you broke the rule, but now you're just doing what you were going to do anyway. Right? So that's what I mean. It's like, even in society, all of our rules, all of our laws, they're so arbitrary. Like, we all think like, oh, you do this, then this happens. But that's not even how society works, right? It's completely up to a whole bunch of other people whether or not first of all, do you get caught or not? Does anyone care whether you get caught? Does anyone actually report it? Did the cops actually do anything with it? Does the prosecution do anything with it? Right? Like, there's all these layers of people that's got to get through for you to end up something bad happening to you for some, consequence of what you did. Whereas, meanwhile, what we're talking about, right? That's the thing. If it was more instantaneous, does that keep people more honest, right? Where it's just kind of like, because like we were saying with the duels, that any little slight personal offense could be, part of that system, right? Where like somebody could potentially die if they insulted you. But do we really want to live in a society where that could happen at any time, right? Or something that slight could lead to a consequence that great. So I think what we're talking about, like, there's this crazy giant sliding scale. You can have fun talking about this stuff, but I think maybe that's why we have ended up where we've ended up. We just tend to kind of go for the safe, the comfortable outcome. We don't want to like rock the boat or anything like that. We don't want to like have a society where we're not really aware of what the consequences of something will be, even though deep down none of us really know what's going to happen to any of us tomorrow or a month from now, right? Like, is the government going to do something?
And the answer is yes.
Well, that's what I mean, right? And it's exactly, because we only have so much control on individual level. But it's like, man, if we just like handed out that much power to people as an individual, especially now in today's world, like that, you're right, that would really start going to people's heads, and like every little thing would just set people off, and yeah, everybody would be looking for a fight, at least at first, and I don't know if that's like a year, 5 years, or maybe it's a couple weeks, I don't know. But I mean, hey, maybe that's a way to take out 20, 30, 50% of the population and just kind of like weed them out. But I'm not a big proponent to that either. That's another thing where people are always like, oh, we got so many people, we can get rid of them. But somebody did like a back of the envelope calculation, and the planet can hold about 20 million times more people than it currently has on it right now. And that's using current technology. That's not even like once we're living like in under underwater cities in the ocean and stuff like that. Like literally just the normal land masses where we live. We got room for upwards of like, I want to say it's about 50 trillion people or something like that, just on our planet alone, even with the resources and everything like that. So it's kind of interesting how even that idea has been propagated as propaganda, right? That like there's too many
Well,
people on the planet. And
used to cropping was like very limited on what you could yield from your crop, and that's what kind of brought that up, like the original idea of like overpopulation, because you could have a whole let's say an acre, right, of corn.
Mhm.
Well, maybe you actually only like yield about 60% of it and about 40% dies. At least that's what it used to. Now that same acre can produce enough corn that would be like 3 acres worth back in the day because of
Right.
better farming and stuff.
Now, what I'm talking about, I'm not trying to say like we could just naturally increase our population up to that point the way we are now and it would work. You're right, because it wouldn't, because the way the agriculture's set up, the way land is zoned, all that stuff, that would conflict. In reality, you could take all the 7 or 8 billion people on the planet, give everybody a square kilometer of their own space, and it would all fit within the state of Texas. So like just the entire state of Texas is enough landmass to hold every single human being on the earth and give them a square kilometer of space, which is enough room, right? Like, but the problem is we're not like that. We can't just somehow bring everyone together into one area, give them a nice little parcel of land, and then use all the other land to like produce stuff on, right? The way it is now, it's like, yeah, there's farms, there's roads, there's towns, like everything's all mixed up, right? The plumbing, the power lines, all that stuff all gets in the way. So it's very inefficient. So in some sense, yeah, maybe we do need to get rid of some people, but
I
just think
remember
we need to
there
get
was
smarter.
on the left there was actually kind of a movement to kind of lower the Earth's population, and then COVID hit.
Very convenient, isn't it? That like
I was thinking to myself the other day, I was like, "Oh, surprise! You got what you wanted. Now
Right.
you don't. Now we don't hear from you anymore, do we?"
Well, another consequence that's going on too now, like since the new president has come in, right now, of course, everything has, I don't know if you guys saw this, but like all the numbers are down like 40%. So like all the new COVID cases are down 40%. Hospital stuff is down for all this stuff, like and people have shown the graphs where it's like literally within days of Biden being sworn in, all those numbers start dropping. Now, whether it's just like they were overinflating the numbers and reporting that, and now they're just reporting the actual numbers, or maybe they're taking it less seriously now because there's been some controversy about him not really having a plan for that. I don't know what the true causation of that is.
I pointed out that as soon as he was president, all the riots kind of died
well,
down.
And that's the point I'm making, is like all these things that were like apparently problems just a month ago, now they're all magically just kind of like going away and people just aren't caring, right? But the other thing that's happening is you're seeing all the sides, like whatever political side you're on, everyone's kind of coming together and actually talking, because they're realizing like, oh wow, like he just signed a bunch of bills that like killed hundreds of thousands of jobs, and oh, he didn't give the $2,000, like all his promises, people are realizing were just full of shit, right? So BLM and Antifa and the right and all these groups are actually talking. You would think that's crazy after what happened a month ago at the Capitol, but everyone's kind of coming to the point of like, hey, all these politicians are the same, like we really shouldn't be fighting, because as soon as we come together and talk, now they're getting censored. All these leftist groups were getting kicked off of Facebook and YouTube this week just because they said, hey, we're going to stream, some BLM person is going to stream with a Proud Boy and just like talk it out. And but it's like the powers that be do not want opposite sides coming together and having a conversation. So they were literally having their stream shut down and all this stuff. And it's not over like, oh, it's like violent or whatever. It's like, no, they literally just don't want leaders in those communities talking to each other, because they're starting to catch on. Like, this isn't about Biden. This isn't about Trump. This is about like, in all this COVID stuff, the corporations have just made trillions of dollars, and they've just, so I
By
don't
the
want to harp
way,
on this stuff too much.
I'm running for governor of North Carolina in 2024.
Do it.
Boom.
Do it, man. Like, honestly, you never know what, like, yeah, it's doubtful you're going to win, but you might come in second, you might come in third, and you might get your name out there. And I think more people need to, like, but I also believe in, like, election by lottery. Like, I think that's a legitimate thing that we should try at some point, especially in certain areas where, okay, so if you have places like California, right, where there's all these corrupt politicians that are very entrenched, with the, they've just been in it for years and it's almost like a mafia family. What if you just start like picking random people, like almost like a lottery type of situation? Okay.
I had a better
because
idea.
think about it. No, hear me out though. Because if you think statistically, even just like, now I'm not saying you literally pick from the entire pool of people. There might still be some sort of nomination process. There might still be some sort of like a jury duty kind of situation where like you got to meet certain requirements to be eligible. But within that, if you're like of legal age and you've like gone to school and you're like not an, total idiot and you're not a felon, you're not all this other stuff, then you're put into the pool of people. And then like jury duty, like you might have a chance to get out of it or whatever for certain reasons or whatever. But it just comes to that point where like, hey, we're going to pick 100 people randomly and then we're going to whittle through those people and figure out who's the best out of those, rather than someone going, hey, me, I want to do this, right? Because they've got all their own personal reasons, right? All their own corrupt reasons for becoming a politician. So they're going to do whatever it takes to get to that point. They're going to get all their rich friends to help them out. But if you took some random person, like people don't really have a choice. It's just like, hey, this is the best person we found out of this pool. And now it's up to you to like get that public support, get the corporate support and all that other stuff. It would put real people in power, right? And it would keep that power closer to the center of the communities. Instead of just like AOC, like, oh, I'm from the Bronx, but like, no, she's actually from upstate New York. She's not from the inner city.
It's so full of shit.
It's all full of shit, right? Like, doesn't matter what side of the equation you're on. So
my idea is you have them outrun a giant fireball, and whoever survives wins.
if you can figure out a good way of doing it and actually explaining why that's a good way of doing it, then I'm for trying anything at this point.
Okay, you know what? For every state, because just about every state has some sort of giant football field or stadium, right? Like for concerts, whatever. Anyone who wants to be the leader of that state, you go in, death battle, the winner lead. It's like Highlander rules. There can only be one.
You mean like Gladiator style, where you can
no, like Highlander. There can only be one.
And is it like your same rules of like melee weapons and just whatever?
You know, on this one, I don't even care. You want to bring a gun, go for it. That's just smart.
Yeah, but then it's the most dastardly. Like, do you really want the guy running your state that manages to just?
Could you imagine?
Eviscerate whoever for whatever
each
reason?
candidate just like dropping off instantly.
I can see this getting out of hand mighty quick.
Indeed.
Like
CNN and Fox Sports can join forces.
I mean, honestly, you don't really have fans. Oh, okay. So if you ban guns and you just go straight melee weapons, right? Then you can have fans, and that's tickets. That's revenue for the state as well. You put it on pay-per-view, more revenue, right? Because who doesn't want to watch like future governors like beat or slice each other to death for leadership? Like people will pay for that.
No, see,
Plus, you have to think 50 states in America. That's 50 pay-per-views.
Right? Yeah, that's
a lot of money.
Biden versus John Kerry, Hell in the Cell.
You know what? Do the same rules for presidencies, and you're just like, yo, our leaders are freaking. They're not 60-year-old men anymore, 80-year-old men. They will be like jacked warriors, and you're like.
Right. Yeah, we'd get back to like the alpha male society pretty damn quick, but then you'd have like
change quickly into a Mandalorian society.
Pretty much, yeah. Now, okay, so I want to agree with you because I would love to see that. My fear is that we're actually getting to that point. Like I could see that being a reality within 100 years or maybe even 50 years. Like I just think if things continue to devolve and
I'll
we
be
actually
old
manage to like,
by then, and I can't participate.
well, no, but
Before
I'm
we
saying
get too
that's
much
why.
farther, if I just want to say this, while you
Yep.
guys were talking, I was just picturing Joe Jorgensen kicking the shit out of Biden and Trump with a hockey stick.
Yeah.
Like that's all that was going through my head when you guys were talking about that.
That's gotta hurt, Gene.
So like we're probably going to get to that point at some point. So I think we're all going to be, now whether we're all still around or not, I don't know. But like, I don't know if we need to necessarily accelerate that process. I kind of think like might be a little bit more progressive to do something that's like more of like a science fair. Okay. Like rather than them debating. Okay. Because everybody knows, they're going to get in front of each other and they're going to argue, they're going to fight, they're going to whatever. Right. But they just make shit up. Thing is, I want to see like elections where it's more of like a science fair, right? Where they actually have to show what they've done. They have to literally explain what they've done. They need to demonstrate what they've done, like in a science fair. Like they got to come up with an experiment. They got to come up with a proof of concept. They got to come up with something cool, whiz bang to show people. Now, that's because personally, I'd like to see guys like Elon Musk, maybe not him specifically, but people like that, people who are innovators. I think they're the ones that should be trying to become politicians, because we all know these corporations are all, for the most part, in control anyway. But it's like, you may as well take some of these smarter people and just give them a chance to kind of like try to turn the Titanic around. You know what I mean? Because it's such a it takes so long to turn things around that you might as well. It's never going to happen because the powers that be don't want to see that happen. But I'm just saying, if you're going to have some sort of crazy context.
John's so much more of an optimist than I am, because I'm
Well,
I want my leaders
No, I'm
to
not an
have
optimist. I
blood
agree
and
with
guts
you.
and
I
veins
agree.
in the teeth.
I'm telling you, I actually think it's going to go your way versus my way. I would like for it to go my way, but I'm pretty certain it's going to go your way. So I don't think you'll be, disappointed. It's just that
Biden will be like, you want to know what I think? It doesn't matter what you think.
I just think at the end of the day,
The
too, right,
governor's office just have the skulls of the fallen opponents.
well, that's what I was
like,
going to say. It's going to
this
turn
is-
into wrestling where it'll be honest at first, but then it'll just turn fake like wrestling after a little while, because then they'll still end up picking whoever they want for president, right? Because it'll be about, some other guy taking the fall, or
No. See, the rules are it's strictly death battle.
that's what I mean. No, I think people would be literally willing to die. Like it would be like, hey, the corporations, we're going to literally take care of your family for the next 100 generations or whatever. I don't know how they'd prove that, but
Yeah,
I
that's
could
the
see
issue.
it.
It's like I feel a few seconds like, oh yeah, they're gonna take care of my family, and other people are like, you freaking idiot.
yeah, but
They ain't gonna take care of nothing except you, because you did.
but
But
as
thank
soon as
you.
you allow that
I would love to
manipulation
have this
in,
trophy on
as
my
soon as
mantle.
it's like to the death, like go for the throat, then it's almost going to become like there's no rules. Or again, like I was saying before, like what are the loopholes? How do we get around the rules? How do we skirt, right? Whereas like what I'm saying was something that's more, again, I don't think it's achievable, but I think if you actually did it based on some sort of real merit system, then it would be, and if it incorporates some element of like the scientific method or some element of like agreed upon kind of standards, whether it's economic, like, hey, you need to be able to like show that your plans, your thing that you're going to do for the country is actually going to work. So you need to be like somebody that's actually made money, and you need to be able to prove it, right? Like that's where I don't think Trump got things right, where he banked on the idea that he was this big businessman, but he didn't really like show people the numbers, right? Like his whole, I don't want to show people my tax records and stuff. I would say go show all that shit and explain, like literally do a fireside chat where you explain, this is how I made money on my taxes, right? Or whatever. And people will respect you even more, because then they realize, okay, this is the type of shit he's trying to do for the country. And, whereas he thought it was going to be bad and all the, I don't know. It's just, I think I'm more of like, put everything out in the open, literally try to find the best people. You're still going to have all the weasels try to sneak their way in. But just kind of like reach for the stars and you might hit the moon, right? Whereas if we're just like, oh yeah, go for it, Steve.
Just a few things real quick. First off, with Trump and his tax records, I get what you're saying. I do. Devil's advocate.
Mhm.
He made his money off of a relatively small amount starting off. He got $1 million, which a million out of a billion is actually a very small number.
No, I agree. Yeah.
And the way he got through it is manipulating the system of paperwork and stuff. Like he legitimately manipulated the hell out of the game. So I don't blame him for not wanting to release his tax records, because whatever he's doing it right. And I understand that he wouldn't want to release that information to his competition after he's a president, like whenever he goes back to being a normal person. Which
I 100% agree with you. Like I'm just, because I was kind of almost playing devil's advocate from my perspective too, because I agree, I understand why he didn't do it, but I'm just saying if we were going to have like a perfect political system,
just kind of wish he did show, because I want to learn how to really not pay taxes.
Well, that's exactly what would happen. I think everyone has miscalculated. Like the media is wrong. Like the public would not be against it. Even like his political opponents wouldn't really have much ammunition at the end of the day. I think by him holding them back, that actually does more damage than him releasing them, because it gives them something to talk about all the time, right?
So here's my second point. Before we get too far off.
Yeah.
Again, I didn't vote for Trump or Biden or anything, so I personally don't give a shit either way. But we keep on focusing like death battle for governors, for presidents and stuff. And you brought up, there would be loopholes. Like even in the perfect situation, it would just be replaced with new rules, and we would just have a shit ton more rules. The thing is, the government wasn't supposed to be set up to put rules on the people. It was supposed to be put rules on the government, because when you have power, you go fucking crazy. And
that's a very good point you just made. Actually,
we need to focus on not the president and not like the people who have the final say. It's the people who have the say the entire time leading up to that point, leading up to the veto, because that's really all the governors and the presidents should have is a veto, an executive order. Technically, yes, but at the end of the day, it's the Senate and the House that has the most power, and there are no goddamn limits on that shit.
Right.
And there needs to be more.
Melvin Coolidge is my favorite president of all time, and he said it is more important to kill bad bills than let good ones pass.
And when you have a corrupt system that we clearly see happening right now, where it's just like so much shit is getting passed in these relief stimulus bills in America right now. And I'm sure you're seeing a lot worse shit with the the COVID arrests and stuff in Canada. Like just shit's getting really hairy on both sides of the fence.
Pretty fucked up.
It's not necessarily the people at the top of the food chain. It's everything leading up to that point.
You know what, though? I'd like to take a pause and just be like, John, I'd like to give you a shout out real quick, because you are very informed on U.S. stuff, and the only thing I know about Canada's policies is your dude did blackface. That is it.
It's all good.
That's it. But you are like, I know about this protest. I know about this riot. I know about this bill. I know about like this executive order. I'm like, all I know is your dude did blackface.
That's okay. It's all your fault anyway, because I mean you can freely go on YouTube and learn this shit. It's like you don't have the excuse anymore of like, oh well, we don't get Canadian news down here in the States anymore, but it's like, no, you actually do. You guys see, I think one time we got onto the metric thing, and I'd forgot to bring it up, but like, God, you guys are on the metric system. You guys actually signed the meter convention 7 or 8 years before Britain did, and like 20 years before Canada did. So you guys are technically on the metric system, and then you convert to imperial, and then you convert back to metric. So that's how dumb your guys' system is that technically everything is in metric at the root, but then you do one conversion for the public, and then you convert back to metric for like all the international standard stuff. So you guys are doing all this extra work.
So badly wish that as a country we would switch over to metric, because I absolutely love metric. As soon as we got to metric in high school, it was fucking amazing, straight A's. Everybody else was fucking confused, and I don't know how everybody's fucking confused, because decimals
Okay,
are so much easier to convert than fractions.
Well, the thing is, everybody
Why?
knows imperial in your head, so no one's going to forget that. Like, as Americans, you guys will always know what an inch looks like, what a foot looks like, what a mile is, all that shit, right? A yard, whatever. A pound. So you guys will always know that. That shit will not go away. You will not forget any of that. So when you learn metric, you'll just have like a new way of comparing, a new system. But you can always use imperial, and it's the same way here. It's the same way in Britain. Like we all
so
use imperial.
one, I've been doing drugs since I was 13, so I've known metrics since then.
Okay.
At least when it comes to weighing shit.
Right.
Don't ask me a kilometer, but I can tell you a kilogram.
Right. Yeah, so you're halfway
Wow,
there. You know.
that explains so much about you, right about me.
Yeah.
That-
It takes time, baby steps.
anytime
But
you-
we're getting there.
Anytime you say
Honestly, in America, that's how you could tell the drug people. When it came to weighing stuff, we were the only ones that knew metric.
Right.
I'm
Well,
just saying, anytime you say something strange, I can say drugs.
Yeah.
Drugs. Explains everything.
Well, that's another place you guys got to like grow up, right? Like here in Canada, we legalized it. So it's like, it was funny too, because I was having a conversation a couple months back and like somebody brought up pot, and I've literally just forgotten that, like, you know, any of like, I don't know, I can't remember how it came up, but like one part of the conversation is like, we forgot that it's completely legal and you can just walk in anywhere and just buy it. Like there's no point in even really hiding it and nobody cares, right? But then there's also this aspect of like, they thought that would clean up the streets, right? That like, or that the private dealers would like shut down and wouldn't be able to keep up. No, it's like now it's competition in the market. It brought all the prices down, right? So it's like, it's amazing. Like even though there's now shops everywhere and you can just walk into a shop wherever you want and pick up, now there's like 5 times as many people privately dealing because the prices have dropped so much that everybody's just like able to find suppliers and like, and the prices have come down. It's amazing. It's like the prices have probably come down 30-40% in the last
Look at that
few years.
capitalism he's talking about.
Like,
oh my god.
I was never a pothead at all, but I take CBD for pain and all the other wonderful health benefits. But yeah, I didn't know about it prior to the legalization and shit like that, and it was very it was extremely taboo, and now it's completely normalized, and like
and it happens almost overnight too. Isn't it funny how like nobody really cares at a certain point?
So Governor Dutton of 2024 of North Carolina, right? I will legalize marijuana in this state because right now it's not. And on top of that, a full decriminalization of all other drugs and pardons to said drugs, at least on a state misdemeanor level, because there is felony levels and I can't pardon that stuff because, you know, felonies.
Yeah, you'd have to run it by your wonderful Vice President, Kamala Harris.
Oh, God.
Yeah, but I can do all the local misdemeanor crap.
Don't we mean, like, secret president of anything, though?
Right.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to say that, but I didn't want John's channel to get struck down.
But isn't it funny, too, how, like, they're on the Democratic side, but it almost feels like they would be more anti-pot than Trump was, which is kind of funny.
But, I'm gonna head out. It's late.
Yeah, I'm gonna shut it down here in a minute. So
I might throw my hat in the ring too and promise the voters absolutely nothing. I'm gonna be a very open and honest president.
Well, I'm also gonna eliminate state income tax. I'm gonna eliminate so many taxes.
I'm gonna promise nothing to nobody.
So many taxes in North Carolina. I'm like, this.
It brings me back to my original point where it's just like there's other procedures in place. Just because you run for the top office doesn't mean that you have the ability to do that. There's so much legislation that goes into that. You can't make those promises.
That's why you make no promises.
I will make those promises, and I will tell my lieutenant governor, I'm like, yo, dude, listen, don't be a bitch. If you don't agree with legalizing pot, real bitch move. You want to be known as bitch tits. I will call you governor
don't
bitch.
Be a bitch.
Well, and that's the state system at its best, right? Like every state should be able to do its own thing I agree. As president, you're probably not going to get a whole lot done for the whole country, but as a state,
I'm going to
you
promise
should be able
nothing.
to like.
I'm
Yeah.
going to promise. I'm not going to do anything for anybody. That'll be my slogan.
And even though some of you guys said you're not potheads, okay, when you guys legalize, you'll realize that there is a cannabis product out there for everybody. Because I'd done edibles, I had done like lozenges, all that stuff, but now I've been trying. Okay, there's like a mouse spray, like an actual like
kind of lemonade.
There's
lemonade.
a spray you can do. There's
John.
a capsule that I've done that's amazing.
I know.
Yeah. There's some amazing shit. Well, you're in California, Fade, so you have access to a lot of stuff that these guys might not. But
Wait,
Oh my god! So I can't take gummies because I have a tendency of you're only supposed to take one, and I'm like, I've taken 10.
Oh my god.
The gummies, I can't stop eating them.
comatose. And it takes
Exactly,
about
that's my
20
issue
minutes to kick in.
You'll be
Oh no, I don't
literally
get
gliding down
comatose.
to the bed.
I freak out a little bit. Like I have to sit down. I can't move. And anytime I blink or close my eyes, it feels like the whole spirit flipping through space Doctor Strange scene.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
wow,
oh god,
Dutton.
these 10 gummies
God damn it, Dutton.
Yeah.
are
Good
magic.
I went to one of those shops and I bought one, it was like a type of lemonade or something, like strawberry lemonade.
Mhm.
It was pretty good.
What percentage was it? Like, how much did it have in there?
I don't remember.
Okay. But it made you feel good, right? It wasn't like you
Sure.
got complete. Yeah. That's what I mean. It's like the part of the issue, right, is that there's all these stigmas, right, when it was illegal. But now that it becomes legalized, it becomes a product like anything else, then they're going to make this whole range of products, right? Like weaker stuff, stronger stuff. And then it's up to you to find like, if like you have a splitting headache or you bash your toe in or something, you're never going to be like, oh no, I could never take a Tylenol. It's like, well, then pick an Advil, take a T3, take a Bayer, whatever. There's an option out there for you, right? Like you want your toe to not hurt, right? Of course, yeah.
When they used to
Same thing.
kick us out for a day, we'd have to walk by 2 weed shops, and I was like, and so one said, hey, let's go get some, and so we'd all go up to the park and smoke weed.
It's like anything
Oh
in
my God.
moderation. Don't go crazy.
Did you hear about Governor Dutton this weekend?
He sucks.
Dropped some acid. He dropped some acid and just walked in front of like the Capitol building, just staring at the clouds. It was.
Yeah, he got naked and like sat down in traffic.
I was
and
gonna
like,
say Dutton was streaking in the middle of the street earlier
Right.
today.
I don't streak while on acid, but I will draw color the hell out of some coloring books.
mhm.
He walked up in front of the press and dropped a deuce. It was the weirdest thing ever.
Although I will say, I did think I did kill my girlfriend while I was on acid at one point. I didn't kill her.
That's not good.
Mm.
That got dark real quick.
Yeah, that's like
Whoa,
As the
okay.
conversation
So,
ended.
wait,
you're claiming you didn't
wait.
kill her, but maybe that's
Wait,
just what you
wait.
want us to believe.
Let me rewind. All right, so I was having a bad trip, right? And so this was in college. So me and my roommates, we all agree, and we all kind of like pick one person to be the babysitter. Like they won't trip acid, they'll babysit.
Yeah, your designated driver, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, my girlfriend at the time, she was that person.
Wow.
And while we're all tripping, having fun, lollygagging, whatever, she was like, I'm gonna dye my hair. And at the time, I kind of dropped out of college and was ghosting my parents. And they wanted to text me that night, and I was like, I can't take this guilt trip. And unfortunately, you can't feel bad if you're on acid, because then that's how bad trips happen. You have to be in a positive mindset going in. So I started having a bad trip. She was like, you know what? Would boobies make you feel better? And I was like, hell yeah, boobies would definitely make me feel better. So we decide, hey, let's take a shower together. Because I'm like, fuck yeah, boobies. Fuck yeah, nakedness. Awesome. Problem is, all right, so
as
we
soon as
started
you
doing
started
stuff.
talking about that, we got another viewer, like right off the bat. I'm like,
Wow.
Boobies!
Keep talking. Keep
yeah,
talking.
talking.
So we started doing stuff, right? And I get a blowjob. And blowjobs feel like a 10 already. Well, on acid, it somehow becomes like a heavenly experience, and it's like a 20.
I was
So-
gonna say, I thought you were gonna say spiritual experience there for a second.
Yeah. Well, so
Or out of body.
Let him finish, man.
so I
Yeah, let him finish.
right. Well. So I shot my shot more or less, and that was the issue, because when I looked down, she dyed her hair red. So all I see is this her on her knees and red completely around my feet, and I'm like, oh my god, my dick became a shotgun, and I come bullets. I just killed my girlfriend.
God.
I remember this
like-
story
like-
from one of our first streams.
Like
yeah.
I was crying. It's the only time I have cried during after sex. So I was like, I've killed her. I came bullets, and I blasted her head off.
Is that what you were saying though?
Oh man.
So lesson is if you do acid, make sure you don't do it with someone who's dyeing their head red, and take a shower together, because that is just the worst experience ever. Like, you'll have a heart attack.
Oh my god, that was the funniest.
This gives
story.
like new meaning to like the silent like mime Tommy gun that you were talking about before, but like
That had to be the funniest story I've ever heard in my life.
that was pretty good. Yeah, I think you did share that a couple
Yeah.
way back on one of the first streams that we did.
Yeah.
It was like, damn, you got to use that. Like, keep that in your back pocket as just like if you need some sort of like funny or trippy scene for a story someday. Like, obviously.
Oh
adapt it,
man, I
but,
used
like,
to use that as like stand-up comedy bit when I used to do stand-up.
Yeah, I could
That's
see it.
great.
I
Great thing.
came bullets. I came bullets.
That's hilarious. Okay, well let's we'll start to wrap it up
shit.
here because I know it's late here. It might be
Speaking
midnight
of
for some of you
finishing,
guys.
let's finish this up.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go
Nice
for the
segue.
happy ending, and
Get it done.
so make sure you guys go check out Issues if you haven't already. Let people know about it. Obviously, it's still going to be up for a little while, but if you want any of those included in the art tiers or anything like that, you might have, what would you say, like a week or two left?
Longer than that.
A little bit longer? Okay.
We shut down some of the major cameo tiers,
Mhm.
but yeah, there's still some to be had.
Yeah, like that. Get your kids' art featured. I don't
Please,
think
for the love
anybody-
of God, yes.
Yeah, somebody
snag
needs to
that.
back that. I'll tweet it again. I know I tweeted it a while back, but yeah, we gotta like. It's just putting that in front of the right person's eyeballs, and eventually
Yeah.
they're gonna realize, hey, that's perfect.
Mhm.
So cool, and we'll check up with you on that again next time around. You could bring us like some cool artwork or something next time, Snoots, if you have anything that you're working on that Michael let you show.
Okay, yeah.
You don't have to do it now, but
problem.
like next week or something like that. We can talk a bit more about that. And then we'll
Absolutely.
also show Melvin. Yeah, and I promise we'll have a bit more of a topic for next week.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I'll try to get a guest. Like I've just been kind of winging it these last couple times.
Yeah, we're definitely getting the pages lettered. So
Cool.
all the artwork's done, so that's not even a problem.
I'm just waiting on the printer for my book.
Awesome.
Unfortunately, because of the COVID stuff, they're backlogged.
Wait a minute, that looks different.
Womp womp.
Did I just get a backer?
You got
I don't know.
31 now.
Ooh.
You're welcome.
Congratulations, sir.
I
Yeah,
didn't back it, but I'm taking credit for your backer, so
Okay,
you're welcome.
okay.
God damn it, Tony.
Thank you for totally taking credit for whoever just backed it.
All right, so let's see here. We'll go around the room and we'll just let everybody give their final. You want to do your shout outs for your channel or your Twitter or whatever? We'll start with
Oh,
Steve.
that's Canadian. Never mind. I thought I saw 713. I was like, that's Canadian.
Oh, you're still on your amount. Yeah, I'm in Canadian.
Oh, damn it.
He's like, wow, look at all that money. It's like, yeah, it's like 25% more than you were expecting, isn't it? That's how bad the dollar is. All right. We'll go back to Snoots here. And
Hello. I am Snoots Von Snips. You can find me at Von Snips on most social media sites: Instagram, Facebook, now recently Twitter. You can find my company's pages at War Dance Comics on most social medias as well. War _Dance Comics at Twitter. War Dance Comics on Instagram, Facebook, and we're still trying to get our YouTube URL on YouTube. Please go to War Dance Comics YouTube and subscribe. The sooner we get to 100 viewers, the sooner we can get our own URL.
Cool.
Or 100 subscribers, yeah.
Right.
So yeah, please, and Go Back Issues Volume 1, only on Indiegogo. And yeah, thanks for the support, guys.
Hail. Thank you for being on the show, Snoots. It's always fun to
Thank you
talk
for
to
having
you.
me.
Of course.
Yeah.
Now we'll go to Tim.
You can find me on Twitter and Facebook, and I think on Minds. Back Melvin #1. There's only 25 days left. It is the best comic book around ever.
Awesome. Thanks, Tim, for coming on.
Yep.
Fade.
Yep, hold on.
Wake up, Fade.
No.
Shake off your gun
Stop
arm.
masturbating.
Control yourself, man.
Anyway, you guys, if anyone wants to follow me, I have a YouTube channel where I do some gang videos. Come check that out. I also have a Twitter, Minds, and Facebook with the just follow the @FadeSalvation. You'll find me there, and that's about it.
Cool. Thanks, Fade, for coming on again.
Mhm.
It's always fun. Justin.
All right, so best for last was obviously me because I'm not the host. Obviously, I'm Dutton, writer and creator of Unstitch. You can go back that on Indiegogo. I am waiting on the printers for fulfillment. Then we will be launching Chapter 2 later this year. And in fact, bonus content later this month, Young Rebels by Marcel Dupree of Evolutionize Comics launches, where there is a Chapter 1 of a 40-page origin story of Hoyoshiro, which is a backup that I have written. So, look forward to that later this month. Young Rebels.
Cool. Yeah, if you have any stuff to tease on that or whatever, and you want to bring it on show sometime, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Whenever you got something, just let me know. Awesome.
You know what? I will actually give me one moment. I will DM you because again I'm on my phone, so I can't really share screen.
No worries.
I will DM you. Boom, boom. Some art.
Cool. Getting an exclusive here. And I'll show it next week too, or whenever we'll.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Oh.
And I will show you the better art of the actual Hoyoshiro.
Cool. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, let me share that.
Nice.
So there is the Beast and the Boy.
Yep. The boy is Antonio Allen. He is a inspiring graffiti artist, high school kid in Van Nuys, California. And the Beast is actually the Hoyoshiro, which he turns into after the sun goes down at night, that hunts the wicked.
Oh, I can't do it that way. Okay, so that's that art, and then you've also see. I wish you could just easily switch between tabs.
Yeah.
You always got to reshare, which is annoying. There's just the concept shot for the boy. Very cool. Yeah, it looks good. Nice pencils. And yeah, I'm curious to learn more about that. And so, yeah, thanks, Dutton, for coming on. We'll see you again next time around, hopefully. And of course, like you was saying, we're going to save the best for last. So we'll go to me. So I want to thank everybody for coming on the show. I know there wasn't a lot, in terms of structure, but I appreciate you guys coming on and chatting. It's always fun going down the rabbit hole with you guys, whether it's about, pop culture, comics, movies, and then we eventually always end up talking about politics. So if you guys want to, anybody out there that ends up seeing this, you want to follow me on Twitter, go to @AceticSmog, which is Comicsgate scrambled up. And yeah, we'll be here again next week. And I think Fade, if nobody out there has noticed, last Friday we did a show on Fade's channel. So if you guys haven't checked that out, go find Fade Salvation's channel and check out last Friday's stream. Kind of the same as we did tonight. We just kind of like shot the shit for a couple hours, but it was fun. And yeah, so just before we send off everybody here, I'm going to play you guys a nice factual video here.
Arthur, where the hell are the personality circuits on these G2 fembots?
According to the internal schematics manual of the G2 class government service fembot, all personal characteristic circuits are located in her... You're definitely looking in the wrong place.
Well, where are they?
They're in her... posterior.
You wouldn't dare.
Help! 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 What?
Dag, why do you risk your life stealing crystals?
Because, my little water snake, the tax collectors of this galaxy turn an honest worker into a slave. Rubidamite crystals are the main source of fuel for the Bordigan fleet. There. That should do it.
Hi.
That's more like it.
Has anyone ever told you that you're awfully cute for a meat body?
Yeah, I keep my pen strong.
Order now and get the beautiful set of stainless steel steak knives and the miracle paring knives absolutely free!
Is that someone there?
Oh my God.
Germs! Germs that can cause colds, bad breath, diarrhea. Germs that can flourish in your family bathroom. No more, please, my heart.